The origin of American independence can be traced back to the 18th century when the American colonies, which were under British rule, sought to assert their rights and gain greater autonomy. Several key events and factors contributed to the eventual declaration and achievement of American independence. 1. British colonial policies. The British government imposed various policies on the American colonies that were perceived as restrictive and burdensome. These policies included acts such as the Sugar Act 1764, Stamp Act 1765, and Townshend Act 1767, which placed taxes on goods and imposed other regulations. The colonists, who had no representation in the British Parliament, viewed these acts as violations. 2. Colonial resistance. The American colonists responded to the British policies with widespread protests, boycotts, and acts of civil disobedience. Groups like the Sons of Liberty emerged, organizing protests and encouraging resistance against British authority. The colonists argued that they should have the same rights as British citizens and should be governed through their own elected representatives. 3. Boston Massacre 1770. The Boston Massacre, where British soldiers fired into a crowd of colonists, resulted in the deaths of several people. This event fueled anti-British sentiment and further escalated tensions between the colonists and the British government. 4. Boston Tea Party 1773. In response to the Tea Act, which granted a monopoly to the British East India Company, colonists in Boston staged the Boston Tea Party. They dumped tea from British ships into the Boston harbor as a protest against the unfair taxation and perceived lack of representation. 5. Intolerable Acts 1774. In retaliation for the Boston Tea Party, the British Parliament passed a series of laws known as the Intolerable Acts, which aimed to punish the rebellious colonists. These acts included the closing of the Boston harbor and the imposition of martial law in Massachusetts. The Intolerable Acts further united the colonists in their opposition to British rule. 6. First Continental Congress, WHO 1774. In response to the Intolerable Acts, representatives from 12 of the 13 colonies convened in Philadelphia for the First Continental Congress. The Congress discussed grievances against the British government and called for a united colonial resistance. 7. Declaration of Independence of 1876. On July 4, 1776, the Second Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence, drafted primarily by Thomas Jefferson. This document proclaimed the colonies' independence from Britain and enumerated their reasons for separating. The Declaration of Independence marked a significant turning point in the American Revolutionary War, which had been ongoing since 1775. The decisive American victory at the Battle of Yorktown in 1781 led to the Treaty of Paris in 1783, which recognized the independence of the United States. These events collectively led to the establishment of the United States as an independent nation, free from British rule. The principles articulated in the Declaration of Independence, such as individual rights and government by consent, became foundational to the formation of the American Republic. 9. Common Sense. In 1776, Thomas Paine, a British immigrant to the American colonies, published a pamphlet called Common Sense. This influential work argued for complete independence from Britain and called for the establishment of a democratic republic in America. It greatly resonated with the colonists and helped to shift public opinion in favor of independence. 10. Continental Army. In response to the escalating tensions with Britain, the Second Continental Congress established the Continental Army in 1775. George Washington was appointed as the commander-in-chief, and the Army played a crucial role in the Revolutionary War. The formation of a unified army symbolized a collective effort by the colonies to 11. Alliance with France. The American colonists sought international support to bolster their fight for independence. In 1778, the United States signed a treaty of alliance with France, which formally recognized the United States as an independent nation and established a military alliance. French assistance, including troops, naval support, and financial aid, proved vital in securing American victory in the Revolutionary War. 12. Enlightenment ideas. The intellectual movement known as the Enlightenment, which emphasized reason, individual rights, and self-government, had a significant influence on the American Revolution. Prominent thinkers such as John Locke and Montesquieu inspired many colonists with their ideas about natural rights and the social contract between the government and the governed. 13. Battles and turning points. The Revolutionary War consisted of various battles that played a crucial role in the quest for independence. Notable battles such as the Battles of Lexington and Concord 1775, Battle of Saratoga 1777, and the Battle of Trenton 1706 boosted American morale and weakened British control. The Battle of Yorktown 1781, where British General Cornwallis surrendered to American and French forces, effectively ended major hostilities and paved the way for negotiations leading to independence. 14. Treaty of Paris 1783. The Treaty of Paris, signed on September 3, 1783, formally ended the Revolutionary War. The treaty recognized the United States as an independent nation and defined its boundaries. Britain agreed to withdraw its troops and relinquish control over the colonies, solidifying American independence. 15. Constitutional Convention 1787. Following the Revolutionary War, the Articles of Confederation served as the initial governing document for the newly independent United States. However, it soon became apparent that a stronger federal government was needed. In 1787, delegates from the states convened in Philadelphia for the Constitutional Convention, where they drafted the United States Constitution. This foundational document established the structure and principles of the American government, which remains in effect to this day. The origin of American independence is a complex and multifaceted story, encompassing a range of political, social, and military factors. The desire for self-governance, opposition to British policies, and the collective efforts of the colonists were key in shaping the path toward independence and the establishment of the United States of America. 16. Role of Founding Fathers. The American Revolution and the quest for independence were driven by the leadership and actions of prominent figures known as the Founding Fathers. These individuals, including George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and others, played pivotal roles in advocating for independence, drafting crucial documents, and shaping the ideals and principles of the new nation. 17. The Olive Branch Petition. In an attempt to avoid full-scale conflict, the Continental Congress sent the Olive Branch Petition to King George IT in 1775. The petition expressed loyalty to the crown but also outlined the grievances of the colonists. However, the king rejected the petition, further fueling the colonists' determination to seek independence. However, the Revolutionary War did not lead to immediate emancipation for all enslaved people, and the fight for freedom and equal rights continued long after independence was achieved. 19. Role of women. Women played significant roles during the American Revolution, both on the home front and in supporting the military efforts. They took on responsibilities typically held by men, such as managing households, running businesses, and even acting as spies and messengers. The contributions of women during this period helped shape the ideals of equality and paved the way for later women's rights movements. 20. Impact of Native Americans. The American Revolution had complex consequences for Native American tribes. Some tribes, such as the Oneida and Tuscarora, allied with the American colonists, seeing an opportunity to resist British expansion. Others, like the Iroquois Confederacy, remained loyal to the British Crown, as they believed it offered better protection against American settlers. The war and subsequent settlement of the new nation often resulted in the loss of Native American lands and continued conflicts. 211. Influence of International Enlightenment. The American Revolution drew inspiration from the Enlightenment ideals that were circulating throughout Europe during the 18th century. Philosophical concepts like natural rights, social contract theory, and the idea of popular sovereignty influenced the thinking of American revolutionaries and shaped their vision for a new nation. 2002. Legacy of American Independence. The successful pursuit of independence by the American colonies had a profound impact on the world. It inspired other revolutionary movements and challenged the established notions of monarchy and colonialism. The principles of freedom, liberty, and democracy that emerged from the American Revolution have since influenced countless nations and peoples striving for independence and self-determination. These additional points shed further light on the origin of American independence and the complex factors that contributed to the formation of the United States as an independent nation.